Week 13 of the NFL season is already underway, and bettors, they're getting ready to place their bets. So let's take a look at some of the best bets for the Sunday slate of games. We're going to do it with Curran Bhatia. He is the host of Ask the Experts with Curran Bhatia. And he joins me in studio now. Curran, what's going on, man?
Dexter, always great to work with you. We got NFL Week 13.
Yes.
I'm pumped. We got some picks here. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, get into it. This is the first time we're doing an edition of Hitting the Books with somebody in studio, so I'm glad to have you here.
Love it.
And Curran, we're going to start with the New York Jets. They are looking to keep their playoff hopes alive. They host the Atlanta Falcons, gangrene. They are 2-point home dogs in this one.
Yes.
Over-under is 34. What's your best bet for this game?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to take the Jets with the points, and they're taking on the Falcons, as we talked about. So that's going to be an interesting game. And you're looking at what the Jets have done recently. It hasn't been good, so you're surprised to see that. +2, if that line moves, it's moved a little bit already. If it goes down even further, I think there's a really good case there for Atlanta, especially if it becomes a pick'em. But at this point, I think the Jets +2 is a good bet. You look at the over-under in this game, it's set right now at 33.5. I think that's a pretty good under. Now, part of that is we've looked at the Jets offense recently. We've talked about it. Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, all the struggles that they've had. I think it's going to be a run-heavy game. I think that's going to take up a lot of clock. And so, therefore, I think the under makes a lot of sense in this one in terms of Jets versus Atlanta.
All right, so you like the under in this one, especially with the Jets' offensive struggles that we've seen for most of this year, sadly, for the Jets fan. All right, next game I wanted to talk to you about. This is undoubtedly the game of the week here, going down on Sunday afternoon. 10-1 Eagles. They're hosting the 8-3 Niners. San Francisco, 3-point road favorites here. Are you backing the Niners, or are you going to throw your money on the home team here in the Eagles?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a massive game. This is two of the most complete teams in NFL. This is an exciting matchup, and I'm really looking forward to it. And you could go so many different ways with this game. I think that what's going to make the difference is we know what the Niners have done in close games, and I'm going to pick the Niners to win and cover the spread. Now, you have to kind of look at small things when the teams are this complete and good. So here's a couple things that are going on here. Niners, 3 straight wins. They're clicking kind of back to old form. Let's say small things. Niners got 3 extra days of rest. They had the Thanksgiving game. Okay, point for Niners. But they have to fly across the country to play Philadelphia. Okay, you say point for Eagles there. At the same time, it's a 4 o'clock game, so maybe that changes it. These are all things that you can take into consideration when it's such a close game. There's one other thing I wanted to bring up, Dexter. Let me read this to you. When tied or trailing in the second half or overtime, Brock Purdy has the worst passer rating in the NFL. You know who has the best? Jalen Hurts. So what does that mean? That means for Niners, do not get down early. That's a big thing. With all of that said, I'm going to take the Niners to win and cover that spread.
All right, taking the Niners to win and cover the spread should be a good one in the city of brotherly love. There's another intriguing matchup for me this week in the AFC that's got playoff implications. You got the 6-6 Broncos visiting the 6-5 Texans. Houston, they're favored by 3 points. They've been playing good with C.J. Stroud. Right now, the over-under for this one is at 47 points. What's your play in this pivotal AFC matchup?
This is a big game for the teams involved, and that means playoff implications are here. It's interesting. We've talked about the Broncos, right? They started with that 0-5. They seem like they started 1-5. They seem like a completely different team. 5-0 the last time out. Russell Wilson has thrown a pass in all of those games and no INTs. So obviously the Broncos are rolling here. You have to look at the same time at the Texans. Here's big news for the Texans. Titus Howard is out with a knee injury, so that's big, okay? These are all factors that we're going to look at. It seems like the Broncos are clicking, and the motivation is certainly going to be there. A win for the Broncos gives them a 45% chance to make the playoffs. I think if you look at all of that, and here's one more stat for you, Dexter. The Texans are 0-7 when playing against the spread as favorites. So with all of that said, I think the Broncos with the points.
All right, Dan, the Broncos with the points there, which is incredible for the Broncos. As you said, they started 1-5 this season, 5-0 in their last 5 games. They are rolling right now, making noise, trying to make that playoff push. Okay, last thing for me here, as we always do on Hitting the Books, we got to go player props. I like player props. What are some props that you're eyeing for this Sunday slate of games?
There's so many different possibilities for an NFL Sunday, Week 13. Here's 3 props that I personally like, and I'll tell you why, Dexter. First of all, Breece Hall. We've been talking about my New York Jets and the struggles they've had at quarterback. So I think that lends itself to a running game. Therefore, I'm going to be taking Breece Hall with the over 52.5 yards. The last time we checked is the number. I think they're going to unleash Breece Hall, give him a chance to run, especially because we've seen the issues at quarterback. I think he's due for a breakout game here. If you can't throw, you have to run. Therefore, I go with Breece Hall and the over. Next up, Tyreek Hill for the Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, over under 100.5 yards of receiving yards. We've seen Hill this year, man. He's electric. This Dolphins team, they scored 70 points at one point. A lot of that has been because of Tyreek Hill. Now, one thing, they are taking on the difficult Commanders defense, sure, but Tyreek Hill has been so prolific that I think the over makes a lot of sense in that play. And one more for you, Dexter. You asked for 2. I'm going to give you 3. I like to over-deliver.
We'll take it. We will
absolutely
take it.
And here's one. Kenny Pickett, 0.5 on touchdowns. I'm taking the over, saying he will score at least 1 touchdown. And I'll tell you why. There's a lot of different things going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Matt Canada is out as offensive coordinator. Ben Roethlisberger said Matt Canada didn't really work directly with the QBs, so you figure whoever now is taking over in those duties is going to work directly with the QBs. I think it also gives Kenny Pickett a chance for him to show what he can do. I think they're going to be motivated. I think this new offensive scheme is going to do a lot of things for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Therefore, I am taking the over for 0.5 touchdowns for Kenny Pickett.
You're probably wondering why it's 0.5. Kenny Pickett hasn't really thrown that many touchdowns this year. He's due. He's due to throw one. It feels like he's due at this time to throw one. Curran, appreciate you, man, coming on here for hitting the books. Great insight, great knowledge, good stats for the people. Appreciate you, man.
Dexter, I appreciate you, man, and hopefully those are some good picks.
I think they are some good picks. There you go. That is Curran Bhatia. Check out his show, Ask the Experts with Curran Bhatia. Great one to catch. Talks betting and so much more. Curran, we'll do this again. Got to have you on Hitting the Books some other time.
Love it. Let's do it again.
Appreciate you.